Julius Caesar just posted a TikTok that started a civil war. No, seriously. And it got 47 million views in an hour. Picture this. It's 49 BC, and Caesar's standing at the Rubicon River with his 13th legion behind him. Roman law is crystal clear. If he crosses this river with his army, it's treason. Automatic death penalty. But instead of hesitating, he pulls out his phone, hits record, and drops the most legendary caption in history. The die is cast with a smirking face emoji. The video? Just him stepping into the water while his soldiers go absolutely feral in the background. The audio? Some dramatic Roman horn music that immediately goes viral. Within minutes, the Senate's group chat is losing its mind. Pompey's in the replies like, "Bro, what are you doing?" And Cicero's doing damage control in the comments trying to explain constitutional law, but nobody's listening because the algorithm already pushed it to the For You page of every citizen in Rome. But here's the thing. Caesar knew exactly what he was doing. He wasn't just crossing a river. He was controlling the narrative. In 49 BC, news traveled at the speed of a horse, maybe 15 miles a day if you were lucky. By the time the Senate could spin the story, Caesar had already framed himself as the protagonist. Now imagine if he had TikTok. He wouldn't need messengers or propaganda scrolls. He'd just go live, speak directly to the people, and turn a literal act of treason into a trending moment of revolutionary courage. The Senate would be ratioed into oblivion before they could even call an emergency meeting. And Caesar wouldn't be alone in this game. Cleopatra would be the ultimate influencer queen. We're talking about a woman who was so brilliant she spoke 9 languages, studied mathematics and philosophy, and commanded the richest kingdom in the Mediterranean. But history remembers her for her beauty because that's how Roman propaganda painted her after she died. If Cleopatra had TikTok, she'd be posting educational content about Egyptian engineering, doing makeup tutorials with kohl eyeliner that actually had antibacterial properties, and dropping political commentary that made Roman senators look like amateurs. Her meeting with Julius Caesar, where she allegedly had herself rolled up in a carpet to sneak past guards, would have been a POV video with 200 million views. POV. You're about to meet the most powerful man in Rome, but you're way smarter than him. Meanwhile, Genghis Khan would be the most controversial creator on the platform. His content would be absolutely unhinged. After conquering a city, he'd post a casual vlog like, "Just took over another kingdom." Might delete later with bodies blurred in the background. But here's what makes it historically terrifying. Genghis Khan killed so many people, approximately 40 million, that he actually cooled the planet. Scientists estimate he removed 700 million tons of carbon from the atmosphere because so much farmland was abandoned and returned to forest. Imagine him posting climate change content from the 1200s. Did my part for the environment today, you're welcome future generations. And it's just him standing in front of a burning city. The comments would be a war zone. Some people calling him a monster, others ironically standing him with, "He's doing what needs to be done." The discourse would break the app. But the wildest part? Ancient people were exactly as chaotic as we are now. Pompeii, the city destroyed by Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, was basically frozen in time like a historical screenshot. Archaeologists found graffiti all over the walls. Not profound philosophical statements, just ancient shitposting. One wall says, "Gaius was here." Another says, "I made bread." Someone literally carved restituta, "Take off your tunic and show us your hairy privates," into a tavern wall. If TikTok existed, these people would have been in the comments section writing the same unhinged stuff. The algorithm would have loved them. And let's talk about Nero. Everyone knows he allegedly fiddled while Rome burned in 64 AD, which is historically inaccurate because fiddles didn't exist yet, but imagine if he actually posted through it. Nero was already an attention-obsessed performer who forced audiences to watch his terrible poetry readings and made it illegal to leave during his concerts. If he had social media, he'd be posting thirst traps during the fire with captions like, "Felt cute. Might rebuild Rome later it." He'd go live from his palace while the city was in flames, doing a Q&A and blaming Christians for starting the fire in a desperate attempt to shift the narrative. The comments would drag him so hard he'd probably ban half his citizens from the platform. But perhaps the most mind-blowing creator would be Hypatia of Alexandria. In the 4th century AD, she was a mathematician, astronomer, and philosopher who taught hundreds of students, both pagan and Christian, in a time when women were expected to be silent and invisible. She invented scientific instruments, wrote commentaries on advanced mathematics, and gave public lectures that attracted crowds from across the empire. If Hypatia had TikTok, she'd be the science side of the app, explaining how to calculate the position of stars, breaking down Ptolemy's astronomical models in under 60 seconds, and casually destroying flat Earth theories with geometry. Her live streams would be educational chaos, with students asking questions in the chat while trolls tried and failed to challenge her. She'd become so influential that she'd threaten the power structures around her, which, tragically, is exactly what happened. In 415 AD, a Christian mob murdered her in the streets, dragging her from her chariot and killing her brutally, because her intelligence and influence were seen as dangerous. The algorithm would have loved her until it didn't, because that's the thing about power and platforms. They give voices to the brilliant and the brutal alike. Alexander the Great would be posting his conquest map with a trending sound, updating his follower count as he took over Persia, Egypt, and India before dying at 32. Socrates would be permanently banned for encouraging dangerous behavior after his trial, probably posting philosophy TikToks that made people question authority a little too much. Spartacus would have organized the largest slave rebellion in Roman history through encrypted group chats and coordinated content drops. The Spartans at Thermopylae would have gone viral with their final stand. 300 warriors holding off hundreds of thousands of Persians for 3 days, trending worldwide with the caption, "We stay hard." Ancient Rome had a census every 5 years, and citizens were required to declare their property and family members. Imagine the anxiety content. POV. Census day is tomorrow, and you forgot to register your second wife. The Roman Senate had official debates, but they also had fistfights, people literally punching each other during legislative sessions. That would have been clipped, edited, and turned into meme compilations within seconds. Egyptian builders didn't have modern tools, but they moved 2.5-ton stone blocks to build the pyramids, and archaeologists still debate how they did it. The conspiracy TikToks would have been legendary. They don't want you to know how we really built this. And here's the beautiful, terrifying truth. If TikTok existed in ancient times, history wouldn't have been that different. It would have just moved faster. Empires would still rise and fall. People would still fight wars over power, resources, and ideology. Leaders would still manipulate narratives. But the stories, the raw, unfiltered human chaos, would have been documented in real time by the people who lived it. Not just the victors who wrote the history books. Not just the emperors who commissioned statues. But the soldiers, the slaves, the philosophers, the mothers, the merchants, and yes, even the shitposters. Because at the end of the day, we've always been like this. Craving attention, making jokes in the darkest moments, falling in love, starting drama, sharing ideas, and trying to be remembered. The platform changes. The people don't. So the next time you scroll through your For You page and see someone doing something absolutely unhinged, just remember, Julius Caesar would have done the exact same thing. He just would have done it while crossing the Rubicon.